Hello and welcome back to Wicked Mysterious. I'm your host Danny, and this is Lala. I hope you're doing well. And whoever said YouTube was easy, it is fucking not. It's really fucking not. But I did get this new camera, and the lighting seems a little better, though it is kind of dark in here. But I guess that kind of goes with our vibe, right? Um, I was going through our episode list of topics, and there was quite a few involving celebrities. So I figured why not just kind of throw them together and mash them into one episode? I thought maybe that would be cool and different. Speaking of, if there is an episode, her ear was going crazy. If there is an episode that you'd like to see covered, you can head on over to my website and I'll leave the link in the bio. It's hypna-gaja.com. While you're there, if you want to sign up for my email list, you do get access to an early release episode. So you can leave me a suggestion if you want, or just feel free to leave a comment or a suggestion or telepathically send me an idea, whatever you want. But if you do like this content, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It really does help, and it will help me eventually bring you more frequent content. So please consider subscribing if you do like it. But if you want to support my work, but absolutely no pressure at all. Today I've got a good one for you. So strap on in because we're taking a ride to Hollyweird. Growing up in the spotlight with a demanding father who drove him toward an even more demanding career, it's not a wonder why many considered Michael Jackson to be one of the weirder celebrities of our time. Psychologist Donna Rockwell describes a common series of events in the life of a celebrity, starting with the rise of stardom. In an article titled Fame is a Dangerous Drug, The Psychological Mindset of Being Famous, she writes, quote, developmentally, the celebrity often goes through a process of first loving, then hating fame, addiction, acceptance, and then the adaptation, both positive and negative, to the fame experience. Becoming a celebrity alters the person's being in the world. Once fame hits, it's a growing sense of isolation, mistrust, and a lack of personal privacy. The person develops a kind of character splitting between the celebrity self and the authentic self as a survival technique and the hyperkinetic and heady atmosphere associated with celebrity life. Some descriptions of fame include feeling like an animal in a cage, a toy in a shop window, a Barbie doll, a public facade, a clay figure, or that guy on TV. Famous people describe a new relationship with the space around them as a component of learning how to live in the celebrity world. It's like fame defines you to a certain degree. It puffs you up or shrinks you down, one celebrity said. The psychology of fame is variously described as leaving the person feeling lonely, not secure, like you have a bubble around you, your family space is violated, a sense of being watched, like living in a fishbowl in a locked room, and familiarity that breeds inappropriate closeness. End quote. Bob Dylan describes his experience with fame in this 1987 interview.
People treat famous people all the same. Doesn't matter what the person's famous for. You could be famous for, shooting of the president or something. You know what I mean? You're still famous. They put your picture on across on all the newspapers. You're famous for something. You could be a famous fashion designer, a famous movie star, or a famous Wall Street executive. But you're still, on your degree of fame, you're just famous. People react to famous people. You know. So if you talk to famous people, I guess I am one of them because I have a certain degree of notoriety and fame. Um, Everybody just kind of copes with it a different way, but nobody really seems to think it's what they went after. You know, um, a lot of people go after fame and money, but they're really after money. They don't really want the fame, because the fame is the to walk down the street or to go somewhere and have people. It's like when you look through a window. Say you're passing a little pub or a little inn, and you look through the window and you see all the people eating and talking and carrying on. You can watch outside the window, and you can see them all be very real with each other. as real as they're going to be. Because when you walk into the room, it's over. You won't see them being real anymore. As you,
not me.
No, me, and even if you're in the room, you'll notice that things have changed. Things have changed just because a person walks in the room who can be a focus point for everybody. You know,
So,
I don't know. Maybe that's got something to do with it. I really can't say. I don't pay any attention to it.
is it a drag then? Oh no, you just said you don't pay any attention
No,
to it.
I don't pay any attention to it. I just don't. Life is short, and I mean, what do most people want from me? They want your autograph. Nobody knows me, and I don't know them. You know, they walk up, they think they know me because I've written some song that happens to bother them in a certain way, and they can't get rid of, in their mind. They got nothing to do with me. They still don't know me, and I still don't know them. So they walk up, as if, excuse me, as if long lost brothers or sisters or something. Well, that's got nothing to do with me. I think I could prove that in any court.
A star's rise to fame that occurs during childhood adds to the burden. A 2024 study on child stardom found that among many other stressors, the child's self image is affected. When a child's image is carefully controlled by a manager, a parent, or the entertainment industry at large, they lose the ability to explore who they are and how they interact within the world. This can cause confusion, and the child sometimes intertwines their identity with that of the role that they're trying to play. This can cause their identity to essentially fracture when they receive criticism for their performances. In some cases, in early adulthood, they will attempt to break free from the role of child star and will often experience anxiety and substance abuse problems. This can be seen in celebrities like Michael Jackson, Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, and Corey Feldman, just to name a few. In fact, Michael Jackson was so far from living a normal life that in 2003 he experienced shopping in a grocery store alone for the first time in his life. He said it was his dream to put things in a basket like everyone else. As someone who never had a moment in his life as a non famous person, Michael craved a normal life experience. On a trip to Florida, one of his friends who owned a mall offered to shut it down for the day. People known to Michael, friends and family members, dressed as employees of the supermarket in an attempt to give Michael his only real world experience. Watching this video was really just sad. These people came together to help Michael experience the simple act of grocery shopping, yet they still filmed it, had photographers there, and had Michael's own music playing on the speakers, and his friends and family played jokes and tricks on him rather than pretending to be the employees. It's incredible to see how far Michael Jackson went to experience something so mundane that we take for granted. This is what finally brings us to our very first strange celebrity conspiracy. David Charles Rothenberg, or better known as Dave, was born in 1976. He was a motivational speaker who was known for being a survivor of a traumatic childhood event. At 6 years old, his father set fire to him as an act of revenge against Dave's mother. He suffered third-degree burns over 90% of his body, and despite 100 surgeries, he was permanently disfigured. He had scarring over most of his body and lost his hair, eyebrows, and eyelashes. His father was sentenced to 13 years in prison for attempted murder, but only served 7 for good behavior. Dave publicly stated that he forgave his father because he did not want to carry the burden of hatred. He became an inspiring symbol of strength, forgiveness, and survival. Around 1984, because of the heavy media coverage, Michael first learned about Dave's story. He was inspired by the boy's strength and wanted to reach out to him to provide friendship and support. Their friendship lasted decades, and Dave was steadfast in his support for him amidst the later allegations against Michael. He said that Michael took on a fatherly role and provided space and stability for emotional healing. On September 3rd, 2009, the day after Michael Jackson's funeral, Dave was interviewed on Larry King Live to share stories and give insight into their friendship. Viewers immediately noticed that Dave's mannerisms and voice were eerily similar to that of Michael's. Because Michael was known for his reclusive nature and elaborate disguises, rumors began to circulate that Michael assumed Dave's identity. Michael wanted nothing more than to lead a normal life out of the public eye, and if anyone were to fake their own death, it would probably be him. He's not the only one either. Many other celebrities have been thought to have faked their own death, from Elvis to Tupac. People's speculation and fascination with celebrities follows them beyond the grave. This theory that Michael assumed the identity of Dave relies heavily on the belief that Michael used prosthetics and makeup to appear like Dave, which I suppose is possible, but Dave had very extensive medical records and surely someone would have caught on, especially when Dave died of complications of pneumonia in 2018. Skeptics also argue that Dave's voice and mannerisms on Larry King Live weren't at all similar to Michael's, and that the only thing they had in common was a soft spoken voice. I'll leave a clip for you here, so let me know what you think in the comments below.
I believe that Michael was a great person. And I remember calling Quincy, telling him I had the tape. And then Lionel put some lyric to it. Actually, he did not pay for my medical. My mother had great insurance at the time. That's what's so wonderful about Michael offered a lot. Traveling, I get to see all the cultures of emotional.
Besides, if Michael did assume Dave's identity as a way to get out of the public spotlight, would he then immediately do an interview about himself that was aired publicly? I'm sure stranger things have happened, but that does seem like quite the stretch. Our next celebrity gives Michael Jackson a run for his money when it comes to fame and success. On Fame, Taylor Swift said, "I fought the idea of having security for a very long time because I really value normalcy. I really do. I like to be able to take a drive by myself. I haven't done that in 6 years." End quote, which is probably now closer to more than a decade since Taylor has been able to drive alone. Her quick rise to fame has led many to believe that she's an industry plant, or maybe she's a clone of a satanic priestess, Gina Shrek. The crux of this conspiracy is how much they look alike. They're pretty much indistinguishable. I mean, really, I can't tell them apart. But I'm not a Swiftie, as you all know. To understand this theory, we have to throw away all of the satanic panic that was forced down our throats in the 80s and early 90s and understand what exactly Satanism is. Satanism is a diverse and often misunderstood set of beliefs and practices that revolve around the figure of Satan, though the interpretation of Satan varies significantly depending on the branch or philosophy of Satanism being followed. Though there are many different branches, it usually involves self empowerment, challenging societal norms, and embracing individuality. Dana Shrek was born in 1963 to her parents Anton LaVey and Diane Haggerty, who were both founders of the Church of Satan. Xena almost immediately became known to the general public when she was pictured being baptized by her father into the Church of Satan, an event that was publicized for being the first baptism by the church. Xena was 3 years old. She was then subjected to tabloid coverage throughout her childhood and teen years before becoming a mother at the age of 14. She got her GED at 16 and enrolled at the City College of San Francisco, where she majored in drama. She later became a singer and songwriter in her band Radio Werewolf, as well as a visual artist and photographer. In the church, Xena rose to the rank of high priestess but denounced her religion in the 90s. After her divorce in 2015, she publicly stated that she would not be assuming her maiden name of LaVey, quote, due to the heavy weight of the negative karma that travels with it, end quote. Xena has distanced herself from the church but is still known for being a knowledgeable leader in occult topics in Buddhism. Besides their shocking resemblance to each other, there are some theories as to why Xena was cloned. The first reason would be to create a pop culture icon and infiltrate pop culture. Xena represents rebellion, nonconformity, and occultism, and the goal would be for her clone, Taylor Swift, to influence society, particularly the youth. Rebellion, nonconformity, and occultism are probably some of the things we need more of in the mainstream society, but I'd argue that she doesn't quite represent any of those things if that were to be their goal. In her music videos, however, there are a few questionably occult moments that proponents of this theory love to point out. And Look What You Made Me Do, Taylor Swift is seen on a throne surrounded by snakes, which often represent chaos and evil. The video for Willow has a mystical, witchy aesthetic, and Swift is often seen in a forest following a glowing thread and performing what some interpret as ritualistic movements. But Taylor Swift is far from the only artist who makes strange videos. What about her supposed ritualistic live performances? Her Reputation Stadium tour featured another heavy dose of snakes. The Eras tour supposedly had a lot of strange cloaks and costumes, with Willow again having a strange mystical-like performance. I did try to watch the live performance of Willow and I got about halfway through, and I can see why people think it's a cult, but I just kind of thought it was uncomfortable to sit through. Sorry. Besides, I don't think Taylor Swift has successfully programmed a generation to believe any certain thing other than to fork over exorbitant amounts of cash for live performances. Another reason this theory has kind of been debunked is that the first successful cloning didn't occur until 1996 with Dolly the sheep. And this is 7 years after Taylor's birth in 1989, so the timing doesn't even line up. And for our last celebrity conspiracy theory, we have to go way back nearly 60 years to 1966. There are tons of theories about certain celebrities already being dead, like Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake dying in a car accident, but this one takes place during the height of Beatlemania. It's unclear where the original rumor started, but it could have been when Paul McCartney was involved in an accident in December 1965. He fell off his moped and wound up with a busted lip and a chipped tooth. The tooth in question looks crooked in photos during this time and can be seen in the video of Paperback Writer. Paul's changed appearance due to this messed up tooth pales in comparison to whatever the fuck's going on with Britney Spears' teeth, but we'll talk about that in another episode maybe. Anyway, Paul's slightly changed appearance is what spurred this rumor. In late 1966, more rumors began swirling that one of the Beatles, not specifically Paul, was involved in a fatal crash on November 9th, 1966. It's likely that this was spun into Paul being involved in the crash because of the aforementioned moped mishap. This theory suggests that because the Beatles were at the height of their success, the record label refused to let a Beatle die, so the real Paul was replaced with a look-alike. Racked by guilt and anger, but bound by contractual agreements, the remaining three Beatles began dropping hints in their music and album artwork. So here are some of the clues that the Beatles supposedly left us. And fair warning, nearly all of them are a stretch. The first is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, released in 1967. The cover supposedly represents a funeral for the real Paul. A hand is hovering above Paul's head, which some interpret as a symbol of death. Paul is the only Beatle holding a black instrument, a clarinet, possibly symbolizing mourning. And on the back cover, Paul is facing away from the camera while the others face forward. Paul's supposed doppelganger is said to be William Campbell or Billy Shears, a Scottish lookalike who won a Beatles contest. The name Billy Shears actually appears in Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Why is that so hard to say? Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, when they say, "So let me introduce to you the one and only Billy Shears." And that fueled the fire. Then there's the Magical Mystery Tour album in 1967. In the album booklet, Paul is shown wearing a black carnation while the others have red ones, again symbolizing death. The word Beatles on the album cover, when held to a mirror, allegedly reveals a phone number that, when called, led to more evidence, which there's no other information on that. The White Album in 1968 had more clues. The song Revolution 9 has a part that, when played backwards, is said to sound like "Turn Me On, Dead Man." And in Abbey Road, 1969, the cover is interpreted as a funeral procession. John in white is a preacher, Ringo in black is mourning, Paul, barefoot and out of step and holding a cigarette in his right hand despite being left-handed, makes him the corpse. George, who was wearing denim, was a gravedigger. There's also a Volkswagen Beetle in the background, and it has a license plate reading 28IF, implying Paul would have been 28 years old if he were alive, though that's not even true. He actually would have been 27. And then there were the musical clues. So the first one, my dad actually told me about this. And ever since then, I just can't unhear it. In Strawberry Fields Forever, John Lennon allegedly says, "I buried Paul." And Lennon later claimed that he was saying cranberry sauce because that's somehow less weird. Playing "I'm So Tired" backwards supposedly reveals the phrase "Paul is dead, miss him, miss him." "A Day in the Life" contains the lyrics, about a car crash. He blew his mind out in a car, which for some reason I always thought was about drugs. I didn't think it was about like an accident, but who knows? I doubt these theories are true, but again, stranger things have happened. Being a celebrity sounds like my personal hell, and I especially feel bad for Michael Jackson. Living in the spotlight definitely has its effects, and I would not be surprised if some celebrities did attempt to fake their own deaths. I hope you enjoyed a little bit different of an episode today, and if you did, make sure you subscribe and click on the bell so that you don't miss the next mystery. Thank you to my continued Patreon supporters, and check out my Patreon for early access to episodes if you want to support me in this channel. And I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which will open up channel memberships. So thank you for listening, and thanks for telling a friend. I love you all, and I'll see you in a few weeks. Stay mysterious.